Welcome to Think Peace, the program by American Friends Service Committee, offering you alternatives to our way of life. Today's guest is Eli PaintedCrow. Eli is a founder of Turtle Women Rising and co-founder of Service Women's Action Network. She's a 22-year military veteran and is a veteran of the Iraq War. Welcome, Eli.
Thank you.
We're so glad to have you here. You've been traveling around the country for the last 2 years, talking about your experiences in Iraq and returning vets. And before we talk about your Million Drums for Peace project and the event in 2008, I'd like to ask you to talk a little bit about your message about returning vets and what you'd like to say to communities.
What I want to say about returning vets and communities that are around the nation is that our veterans are in real need of support by communities and in creating healing processes that are not part of a systematic kind of way that puts them through a really rigorous process in order to receive help. As a vet and as someone who has gone through the system, the VA system, in order to obtain help, it's very discouraging and very hard and a lot of obstacles. And so if these young soldiers coming back do not have the strength to move forward in that, you'll see a lot of them falling out. So I'm asking communities to think about what they can do to help support the vet, and not just waiting for the vet to show up, because vets won't show up. You need to really go out there and do aggressive searches to help them, because they don't really have the insight to realize that they need help. And I speak that for myself, my own experience. Some will, but a lot of us will say nope, because we're really taught to, the term is suck it up and drive on. So it doesn't matter how much it hurts, you drive on with that pain. And so we come home with that mentality, and very hard to ask for help. And so communities need to be prepared to reach out to vets and their families, because family members are going to be greatly impacted, children are going to be greatly impacted. You're going to see a rise in alcohol and drug use. You're going to see a rise in domestic violence. You're going to see a rise in violence in your communities, and not because that's the intention of the soldier, but they come back with some pretty hardened hearts and thoughts and behaviors, and they're going to come back and need time to heal and need to be understood. They'll be okay for first 3 months. Maybe it'll be kind of like a honeymoon, but then reality sets in, and it's very, very difficult to reintegrate back into community for a lot of vets. So I'm just asking communities to think about these things now and not wait until they come back and be operating under a crisis mode. Soldiers who have served 3 to 5 tours, that's a huge amount of service there, are going to be greatly impacted in this return, and their families are really, it's going to be hard for families to stick around because of the anger and the isolation that we put ourselves through, and this inability to speak whatever our experience was. And people ask, and you don't want to talk about it because you want to forget about it.
I've heard you say compare this war to the Vietnam War. What are your thoughts on that?
The Vietnam War, there were groups that did tours 3 times, 5 times, but there were specific companies that did these tours. It wasn't the norm for soldiers to do more than 1 tour or 2 tours. And there was a draft. And what we really need to understand is that we have a shortage of soldiers. And so that's why you hear recruiters being very aggressive in the recruiting arena because they are short soldiers. And if you think about it, our reserves and National Guards are supposed to be here to guard the states. They're not here. They are in Iraq. And that is very telling to me in that we are short soldiers, and therefore these soldiers, the stop-loss law, in which they can extend you. When I was out there, there was soldiers out there that were ready to come home and couldn't. They extended them. So, all of these things are very telling in that these soldiers are going to keep returning, returning home for a few months and going back. And being out there is very difficult. It's very hard to reintegrate in the sense that I guess I can speak from my own experience. When I came home, I was very angry. I didn't even know that I was very angry. And as a reservist, I had a civilian job before I got deployed. I used to be a social worker. I worked with communities. I was alcohol drug counselor, dual diagnosis. I did all these different jobs throughout my life. I've really felt a compassion for people and had the patience. And when I came back, if I'd hear somebody complain about anything, it was just so petty to me that I really did not want to hear it. And I would get angry because I would think, what's wrong with you? You don't even understand. You think you have it hard. You're mad because you got a ticket, or because they wouldn't refund you, or because somebody's not listening to you. Just the most smallest things would make me very irate when I would hear a complaint. And just all these behaviors in terms of what we use as survival mode out there, when we come back, they translate into other things, into behaviors that worked out there, but they don't work here. And so we have a problem, number one, identifying some of those behaviors within ourselves, because where we are over there, it's really normal. Everybody is pretty hard. Everybody talks hard to each other. And then you come back here and people are shocked by your actions, or also you can have these reactions to noise that just kind of make you angry, or just, I don't know, just changes you in a way that it's hard to explain.